Hey guys, so I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do an install video on the Jeep behind me. So I've got a set of Rock Krawler 2.65 inch, I believe that's what it is. Anyways, it's a 4.5 inch lift, coilover suspension for the front, and I'm going to get this old stuff cut off, install the new stuff, and I'm going to be doing an install video on it, so bear with me on that. We'll see how it goes, but anyways, here's the Jeep. If you've seen our channel, you know the Jeep. Okay, when I lift this dude up, I use my rock rails because they're strong enough to hold everything. You know, and hell, I use the factory Rubicon rock rails on the Gladiator. It's just easy. I don't have to go in and try to hook onto the frame, or a lot of times you'll get on the mounts where the control arms mount to the frame. Not ideal, so I like to do it on the rock rails. It's just nice and easy. Okay, so I always make contact and then recheck my pad positions. Driver's side front's a little too far forward, so I'm gonna let it back down, go move it just maybe 2 inches, and then it should be good. Then always do a wiggle test. Oh yeah, solid. I'm gonna pull these front tires off and start on figuring out what to do first. I believe it's gonna be bracing these axles up and pulling off the old shocks, and then cutting off the shock towers. The new coilover towers, and this is them. Had them powder coated, and then here's the coilovers. And I did the springs in our lime green that we use. So these are the lower mounts that I'll have to cut the old ones off of the axle, weld these new ones on. These are the cool little Rock Krawler logos that'll go on these, and they go right here. They just bolt in, gives it a little pop. Another thing I noticed, they do recommend limit straps when you put the coilovers on the front, because they don't want the coilover to be your stop when on down travel. So I may do that back here too, because, and I'll get this in the air and do a little bit better job. But these shocks have, I want to say 12 3/4 inches of travel, or a little more. Well, I'm unseating these 3.5 inch springs. Yeah, so they're unseated. So I may put a limit strap on those, I don't know, or just do a 1/2 inch coil spring spacer in the top. A 1/2 inch coil spring spacer would probably keep those seated, because I mean, when I say they unseat, I mean they barely unseat. I'll address that when the time comes. Right now I've got other stuff to do. So we'll start on these coilovers. Stay tuned. These tires are huge. Okay, first things first, we're gonna take these liners out of the fender wells. The way I have them in here is, these are the Arctic Tech fender liners. You see there's a logo here. But anyways, they're just self-tapped in here to here. There's supposed to be a bolt here with a nut cert on the back. It came out at some point, and then there's supposed to be like one of those plastic push pin grippy things right there. So, and it's a 2-piece, but I'll just pull these. I mean, it's in there, it ain't going nowhere. I'm just gonna pull these 3 screws out, and it's just gonna come out. So it's a little easier than undoing all the other stuff. So let me get this side done real quick like. So appears to be some rerouting of some wires is going to need to take place here. As you can see on this bracket, shock bracket, this is connected to it. It's got another bracket here. It's going to need to, so basically these are both need to come off. Here as well, looks like this harness here gotta be pulled off. Hold it on there, and another one on the top side. So keep in mind that's all things that are gonna need to be not particularly rerouted, but it's gonna have to come off and possibly secured to the new bracket. We'll see. And this is the auxiliary battery. It's that little battery that we have in the JLs. I've deleted mine almost since it was new, so I may have to, I don't know, I don't remember seeing anything in the instructions about pulling that out or cutting it, so we'll see how that goes. I need to disconnect that shock, get it out of the way, disconnect all these harnesses, get them out of the way, and then I can start cutting on this bracket here. I may just cut this bracket right here where this comes down and makes contact with the actual spring bucket. I may cut it off here and then cut the frame side just to get this out of the way, and then I can come back and kind of clean this up and get it off and then repaint it and repaint the frame as well. So that's going to be my next process. Off with the shocks. I'm going to take these shock bolts off here and support the axle and then pull the shock off. I'll do that on both sides. I may just push this up and out of the way. So I'm going to set this down on some jack stands. So I'm not pulling the bolts all the way out. I'm just taking the nuts off and the washers on the bottom and then loosening them at the top. Because until I support this axle, I don't want to pull the shocks loose. But I'll put these down on the jack stand and take the weight off the shock just barely, and that'll allow the lower bolts to slide right out. And then once that's done, I can lift the axle back up, and it's going to droop quite a lot because the shocks is the limiting factor here. And I'll check it. If it's too much droop, I'll stop and reassess how I'm going to keep it from drooping too much if it runs into any issues, which I don't think so. I've done this before already. So I don't think I'll have any issues. The only thing that gets tight really are the PSC lines on the hydraulic ram. I'd love to get some longer ones. I had some made from other companies, and the fittings are just too big that they use. So up by the box, it won't clear the frame. So I'm probably gonna have to pay PSC to build me some. They're like $170 for their 2-hose kit, and I think they told me it was another $70 per hose to have them some length added. So it's kind of expensive. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Okay, I'm gonna go back up. I'm gonna pay attention to everything on here, so see how far it droops down. I'm hoping, since everything is still bolted up, it's only gonna go a certain amount of droop. Perfect, so yeah. I mean, you can see here by the shock on the bottom, it only has about an inch to even play with. So I think at this point, regardless of the amount of droop I have, that's about going to be my limit. And honestly, I'm not sure what the limit actually is. Could be a combination of the sway bar end links, drag link, because I know these arms will continue to keep going with this axle. Either way, I'm pulling the shocks out currently. So if that's the case, maybe I don't need limit straps because it's obviously going to stop anyhow. But then again, it could be a whole nother circumstance when one's totally stuffed and one is not. It may actually allow it to droop a little further down. But either way, I'm not going to worry about it currently. Okay, so next, and I totally didn't even think about it. I can actually go ahead and cut these shock towers off. But nonetheless, I've got to pull load this axle back up and pull the track bar bolt, and then pull these sway bar bushings or sway bar end links off, because I need to pull these springs out. So I'm going to do that next. So I don't pull that bolt all the way out because it's under a lot of pressure with the axle hanging like this. Just enough to pull this keeper off. And honestly, I do the same thing with all my suspension bolts. Whenever I do something where I got to remove an arm or I'm changing out all the arms, I always, since I'm lucky to have a lift, I always put it in the air, pull all the nuts loose or off, leave all the bolts in, and then when I unload this, or when I load the suspension back up, I can pull all these bolts out. Because if you load it up just right, the bolts will literally slide in and out freely. So I do that until I get all the bolts out. Okay, track bar, bolts out, sway bar end links, bolts out. Now I'm gonna droop it down. This time I need to be real careful. I believe I'm gonna have to unbolt the hydraulic assist ram, because I'm almost 100% sure I had this issue prior and those hoses are just not long enough. I'm gonna lift it up and see. Yeah, you can see right here. That one's starting to pull pretty good from up there. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this at the axle side and probably here as well. So after I do that, then I can droop this axle down as far as it needs to be. Here we go. What I've done is I pulled the coil springs and spacers out, wheel wells out, or the liners, fender liners out, and this is where we're at. So what I need to do now is cut off the upper shock mounts. So that'll be this weld here, this weld here. There's not one on the back side. And then there's another weld here and a plug weld here. So need to get all that off. That's not a very good weld, so I don't think it'll be very hard to do. And then I can pull that off, and then I'll test fit and mark the holes for the new mounts. And then I need to drill those out. What I had to do to get this thing to droop down far enough to get the springs out is both shocks, or track bar bolt. You see the track bar dangling right there. I had to pull my PSC ram off because the lines aren't long enough to droop, to allow it to droop this far down. But I disconnected it here from the axle, and then I have my sway bar end links. Everything else is still intact. All my lines are long enough, so everything's good. So that's it for now.
I'm nervous.
So I think I'm gonna cut it here and get that off. But if I can get this out of the way.
Oh yeah, you can get to it better.
If I can cut it like here and maybe here, get that out of the way, then I can cut it here to here. And then I can cut it here. I just gotta take it off the pieces. Okay, as you can see, I got most of that out. So now what I'm gonna do is clean this up, clean this off the top, and then I've got a little more, I've got a weld here I need to cut off. Actually, no. This piece is all by itself, so I'm not cutting that off for sure because it's part of this piece here, right? Right. So there's a weld here that I'll cut through, and then this, it's been welded here. I may end up having to just kind of cut and grind and finagle this dude off. That's the next process. So as I suspected, this battery box is the auxiliary battery box, and I deleted that a while back, actually back when it was new. So I think I'm gonna have to cut it out, if not some of it, all of it, because this goes right here on top of this, and then it kind of just rotates in. But as you can see here, it hits the battery box. So, and it looks like it's like cut out maybe for it, but maybe the diesel is just different, because it'll never sit flush if I was to put that piece here underneath that box. So, and it may be all JLs, I don't even know. I didn't ask that part. So, I'm gonna have to cut that dude out, and I would suspect just like the corner of it. Okay, so yeah, test fitting it, it's definitely not gonna go, and it looks like in the instructions, this box is in the instructions, but it looks like it's in a different position than it is on the diesel. So this will probably be diesel specific. I think they had to move it, and I don't know why, but who knows why. It's the diesel. So I'm just gonna cut the lower half of this box off and call it a day. The battery's not in it, so it's not hurting me none. So that's what my next move is. If I need to later, I can pull this whole freaking thing out, but it's like connected to all of this, so it would be quite hard to pull all of that out just to cut it off smoothly. But I can cut away at it, or just leave it as is. I kind of like it better that way anyways. I can get to the damn oxygen sensor if need be. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I need a bolt. It says bolt this one in.
Where am I clamping?
Roughly here. Okay, let it loose. Okay, clamp it.
Put your fingers.
Unclamp that. One of the 1/2-inch holes. Remove the tower and drill out the 1/2-inch hole on the side of the frame. After that, center the coilover mount on the spring tower and drill 3 7/16 hole in the spring tower. This is 7/16. Okay, bolt the tower down, the 2 frame connectings, get 1/2-inch by 1.25 bolts, 2 washers, 2 lock nuts. The 3 spring tower connections get 7/16 screws, 2 washers, and 1 lock nut each. So I gotta drill 3 of these. So that's gotta be drilled out regardless, because that don't even fit either. drill these. The only way to mark them is from the top, and so like you're drilling blindly from the bottom. Use my plasma. That actually might be a good option. Just get hairy.
Oh no.
Get sketchy with it, dude.
No.
At least get all of them started. This one needs to be, one of these needs to be pulled out more, blowed out more. Actually, both of them. So I need to come a little bit my way on this back one, and yeah, and that way on the other one. That should work. Okay, we got that side done. I don't like the whole grinding thing, so I'm gonna see if I can't use my plasma and cut it off. Here we go. I don't like grinding. I'll just take my grinder and cut that off smooth. Cut this off here and here. Go over. Cut. I'm not gonna have a choice but to use the grinder. Okay, so now you can see how much I've gotten taken off. So that bracket's there gone. I'm done. Now I'm just gonna basically grind all this smooth and smooth it all out basically, and then paint it after I test fit the main bracket, the shock bracket. So that's what I'm gonna do next, is test fit. Down. Well, I was wrong. It actually does fit without hitting anything. Well, this one here in the back, I'm gonna bend that dude out just a little bit. Go ahead and bend both of these up some. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. I'm gonna try to get this as tight as I can and as flush as I can with this bucket before I mark my hole here and drill it. And I'll mark these as well once I get it all good and tight. 1, 2, 3 holes, yeah. Try to want to center it on this bucket as good as we can. And that actually looks really good right there. So I'm not even gonna mess with that. I like it. That's full sand right there. Looks like it's even all the way around. I'll tell you what, Rock Krawler did a fabulous job making these brackets and making it to where you can just bolt this stuff on. It's really cool. Okay, that looks great. That'll work. We'll remove both of them, get the big grinder out, actually grind all this old bracket where they was welded to the frame, grind everything clean, and then coat everything with a coat of paint, and then time to bolt these bad boys up. There's no way this will ever work. Moly. Shit. Should have left a piece here, man.
I'm well aware of I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm probably doing it wrong. I'm just doing it, okay? I'm getting it done. It's getting done. It's not professional. It's not perfect.
Talking to me?
But he's letting me play with power tools, and I'm getting it done. So there's that. No, I'm telling him don't come at me because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm probably doing many dangerous moves.
No, that's fine.
Like I said, he's letting me play with power tools. I'm not going to complain.
Okay, y'all, I come out here for a little while today and got the towers mounted up. I've got both of the inner fender wells or fender liners cut to fit. Check it out, they're in, they're bolted up, solid. And got this other one done. I cut too much off of it, I feel. So I'll probably get another one and bring it out further here and contour that better, because I'm just not happy with it, but for now it'll be fine. At least I got the washer reservoir kind of protected here, and this little stuff behind here is protected. The other side actually did turn out better. But I'm fixing to cut off this lower shock mount on both sides with my plasma cutter. So I'm gonna get that done. Shouldn't take too long with the old plasma. So check it out. I'm gonna grind that stuff smooth that I just cut. And I wanna see if this Rock Krawler bracket will fit right around that old bracket where they welded it. I think it's the perfect width. So let's check that out. If so, it's gonna make it a little easier on me. Okay, so not quite. Okay, I'm gonna cut this at an angle and get it closer to the axle. Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep on plasma cutting so I get it up against this axle as much as possible. pretty close. Now you can see where I got into this spring perch and where it's doubled up, which is fine. I can grind all that smooth, it ain't no big deal. And then I just got some grinding to do. Test fit that bad boy tomorrow. Yeah, I'm a little worried. So I'm gonna bring it out here then, just like that. Faux show. I can't have that all the way up against there like that. And the further outboard that shock is, I think the better it's gonna be for when it articulates downwards. It is what it is. Maybe it'll clear it, I don't know. I won't know until I get all that off, but either way. That's it. That's it for tonight, y'all. We'll catch y'all on the flip. Hey guys, good morning. I'm out here in the shop again, fixing to start working on the Jeep. I figured I'd run down what I've done so far, or where my stopping point was yesterday. Actually used my plasma cutter and was plasma cut this bracket off here. You see it a little bit better today in the daytime, which was really hindering me. Last night I couldn't really see very good. Plus when you plasma, it's really bright, so your focus or your vision isn't as good when you stop the plasma cutting. Plan today is to clean this side up. And also I marked these. So this is a Fusion front 60 axle. This little mark right here is pretty much the middle of this bracket. It kind of gives me a base setting of where I should maybe start with the new bracket, because that's where they centered it, so maybe I should center it there as well, but I don't know. Rock Krawler has their own setup as far as the angle of the bracket and things like that. And then this side here, I just kind of knock some of the powder coat off, and I'm gonna cut it off as well today. Peace. Something, because this bolt for the lower control arm is not going to want to come out. I'm going to at least have to minimum flip it over to where the nut is on this side, so the bolt can come out that way. I don't know. Yeah, see how close that tolerance is? That's fucking good enough, boys. I'm gonna do that to the other side as well. So yeah, it's touching like a mug. It won't when it's compressed, but it is currently. And this is my issue. If I can move it out here to the end, I can still get this nut off. Of course, I'll have to pull this out some, but it's doable. So I bet it. I don't see any reason why I can't put it all the way out to the end of the knuckle. 5 degrees caster on the knuckle, 0 degrees on the mount. So if I'm at 0 here, basically I'd be 5 over there. So I brought this up to 5, dropped it down to 0. So basically, I just need 5 degrees, 0 here and 5 degrees on this. 5 degrees, because if they want you to put it 5 degrees here and 0 degrees there, just reverse it. 1 degree or 0 degrees here and 5 degrees there. 5 degrees. Technically it's ready to weld, but I need to find out if being all the way out this way is going to work or not. And then this needs to be trimmed, obviously. And I think it says somewhere in here that may have to be the thing to trim those. It says measure. It says ground the powder coat off the new mounts and all applicable surfaces. It needs welding. Measure 3/4 away from the inner C for the Rubicon models. For non-Rubicon models, just get as close as the C as you can. Yeah, so 0 degrees at the top of that flat surface there. But like, there is no room. So if I go all the way to the edge, that gives me this much room. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a whole lot of difference. I don't know what it's gonna look like at compressed height though. You know what, I'll just message Adam. Talked to Adam at Rock Krawler. He said I can outboard these as much as possible, as long as there's clearance with the caliper. So I moved the caliper over. The only place that it could hit, because I still have to trim some of the stop on the steering knuckle off over there, is right here, but I can just rotate this up some and get it out of the way. It should be good to go to burn them in right there and still have a little bit of room between here and there and here. I mean, I can almost pull this off, or actually I can. It's not completely seated on this side, but that's okay. It'll still be okay. It'll still work. I'm gonna clean everything up one more time and then cut off the perches and then burn these in.
Right here, this corner.
Yeah, just make this corner come out because the coil spring comes right through there. It needs to be cut.
While I was over there, he got these brackets welded on.
It's on. I ain't going nowhere. If that don't hold it, I don't think anything will.
So while he gets those finished up, I'm gonna go rub those fender liners with some mineral spirits, give them a coat of fresh black paint because they are quite worn out. And then what? Oh, and then what's next?
Hang the coilovers and bolt them up, and then start adjusting the ride height.
All right.
Actually, so while these are up here like this, I think I may pull these down and push my caster out. Right now I'm set at 5 degrees. I'd like to see them at about 8. So I may do that before I let everything down and put the tires and stuff on. It'll be easier.
So it'll be today, we'll have it on the ground or what?
Oh yeah, it'll be on the ground today.
Oh, that's exciting. Go up with the Jeep and seek the bottom. Okay, note to self, maybe double check your bolts that you put in. One that goes to the lower than the upper. So the longer ones go up top and the shorter ones go at the bottom. touching.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, it's literally touching. Come on around there.
Oh my god.
It's touching still. He's like cut it 3 times.
Well, needs more then.
Shit the bed. Got it.
Ah, good grief. Okay, round 16.
So this bad boy has officially been in the air for close to 5 days now.
Pretty much.
And we are just now getting ready to bring it down. Shawn's gonna put tires on here and
See where we land as far as full weight on the vehicle and where the coilovers are gonna be and all that kind of stuff. These tires are not light, not all medium. Yeah, we only need 2. I just, like I said, I just want to put some weight on it, see where those stop moving, so we can see how tall it's going to be, because right now my adjusters are all the way up, which means the least lift possible. So I want to see where they land, where it lands, and then I can go up and down and make adjustments as needed.
I know I'm not a super tall person by any means.
Yeah.
But golly.
Right there is where we're going to be at right out, roughly. That's pretty damn level. What do you think? Pretty low? Maybe just a little bit more in the front. A spanner wrench. See there? And then that's how you tighten these down.
Oh, I see.
There, got 2 of them.
Okay. So you go the opposite directions.
Well, yeah. This is so one is your actual adjuster, and then one is like your jam nut, which jams it. So it basically tightens it, jams it, so it doesn't move. So then that's what your top one is on both these and these. So I'll loosen this one up and then use the bottom to tighten. These in the middle is what controls when your lower spring starts to activate. So these will stop this plastic piece here, which is your slide. So when it compresses, this slide and these springs will start compressing, and the slide will go up. Well, from what Adam and the guys over at Rock Krawler are telling me, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, where when it's completely under a load or at ride height, you go about 1.5 inches above this slider. So that way when it starts to compress, this slider can only go so far and forces this lower spring to start compressing. That gives you, that's your secondary compression basically. So, and it's a heavier spring. So when this thing starts compressing, it really starts to get tight. So I'm gonna start off with this ring all the way up top, and I'm gonna measure in between these 2 rings, and I'm gonna put them at about 1 inch on each side, and I'll use that as a starting point. I have a feeling I'm gonna need to go down substantially more than that. But being this is my first setup of these coilovers, I'll probably do baby steps for sure. Just to hold it there, it don't have to be super tight or anything. But, I'm white.
What'd you do, 1.5 inches, right?
1.25 inches. And that probably isn't enough. We'll probably have to keep going, but that's a starting point. Okay, so I started at 1.25 inches between the two rings on both sides. Let it down, we're still low in the front. So I'm going to go, start at 1.25 inches, I'm going to go 2 full inches and see where we're at that point. And let it jump back down and look at everything, see if it looks semi-level. Take some measurements on both sides so we can, because one side may be heavier than the other, so we have to compensate for that with the spring rate or the spring keepers. I think normally the one with the most compression has, or they put it on the gas tank side. This being a diesel, gas tank's on the driver's side instead of the passenger side, so I may load it a little bit more on the driver's side for this one. But the torque of the engine makes the rear passenger side squat on torque load. So, I don't know. So that's 2 full inches exactly. Let's go to the other side and do 2 inches. That's pretty damn level. What I need to know now is what my caster is. So I'm at 5. Yeah, we need to go to about an 8. We're pretty damn level as is right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is take that top ring down and jam it up against that other one, and then I need to set the one in the middle. Now these spanners won't work these little guys. I'm not sure how I'm gonna tighten these up yet. Probably with the Allen wrench. Whatever fits in that hole really snug. Heck yeah. Okay, we'll go do the same thing on the other side. They said to put these about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or 1.5 inches. Adam's like, I'll put mine at about 1 inch because he drives his like probably I drive mine, which is like a damn sports car. So he likes them a little more stiff in the corners. That's what this does. A couple of spanners for like a razor. That's what these are, they're smaller. So I'm about a 6, 5 to a 6 on caster on both sides right now currently. I'd like to see about an 8. So I'm gonna jack this back up. Or pull these tires back off and jack it back up. And then pull those arms loose and add a little caster to them. I'll take these back to 5 degrees with my jack stands, how I did earlier. Put the weight on the jack stands and put the axle up into place. Put them at about 5 degrees. Okay, so 5, 6, almost 7.
Okay, we are back at it for what we hope is going to be the final day. We pulled Buttercup out of the shop, got everything dusted, swept up because there was a lot of shavings from the amount of cutting and grinding that he's been doing. And we're also getting it repositioned. So from the amount of times it went up and down on the lift, it's walked itself sideways. So repositioned it on the lift, and now what we hope is just going to be our final, just tighten everything up, make sure everything's hooked up, mark everything to make sure nothing moves, and then hopefully we can get it out there for a test drive. So we'll see how everything goes. So wish us luck.
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, they're still on the ground. Just a quick, really quick little side note while he's over there looking for stuff in the toolbox. See this little Rock Krawler emblem right here? Just a really, really fast side note. Put those on before you install them because, well, apparently I was supposed to put them on and I didn't hear him ask me to put them on, so I didn't put them on, and then we installed everything and then realized that they weren't put on. And so you cannot even get your finger back there, so he had to use a pry bar to push that back so I could get this one in, and only this one has a bolt behind it. That one's just hanging out in there until we try to figure out how to get it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no.
In the meantime, I've been walking around for 2 days with this little guy in my pocket waiting to put it on back there.
Okay, so we should be ready. I've got everything bolted, torqued up, marked. I like to put these fancy marks on everything. You can see here and here, everywhere. Lets me know that what I've done has been checked and torqued, and that's it. So the lines are all out of the way. These were routed on the back side of this in the beginning. I decided since the coilovers are going to be there that they need to come on the back side. There's plenty of room. As you can see, it's fully drooped, so we've got plenty of slack in my lines and my ABS wires. I had to zip tie my breather up in there in a different spot out of the way. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add a 1 inch more bump here on both sides. See if that helps. But these wires, again, out of the way behind this bump. And it's all finished. I think it's time for a test drive.
Woohoo, test drive time.
Heck yeah.
That's exciting. I'm
It
excited.
is.
As soon as he gets the rest of the lug nuts in the wheels and gets those tightened on, because that will be the final step, we're gonna take him out for a test run and see how he does. So
Here we go. I'll test the test. Okay, stay tuned.
also, if you like any of this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you
that'd be great.
can watch our next stuff. We would really like it if you would like and subscribe. I mean, just a little clicky click right there, you know. Just give it a little click. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are out on our test drive, and I'm telling you, it is so smooth. So smooth.
It drives great, as usual. It always has driven good. I mean, as long as you got a good suspension, the right pressure in your tires, and the right steering components. I feel so bad when I hear Jeepers say, oh, my Jeep drives like crap, rides like crap. And I hate it because it's just not true. They're like, oh, it's a Jeep thing. I'm like, no, it's actually not if you build it correctly. So as far as these coilovers are concerned, it's hard to really it's more supple in the way it does take the bumps that we do hit, and the dips in the road and things seems to be, it's just more soft, I guess you would say. I think the real test and to see if we really like it, which I know we will be off-road. The dampening that it will do off-road is what I'm really curious about compared to our faded out old Fox 2.0s. But
Hey, they may be faded, but they were still working.
no, yeah, they still work. They're actually still really good shots. So. But yeah, I don't know. We're gonna give it a few weeks to give a good overall review on it. Will be a few weeks from now, I'm sure, because it's not a daily driver. It's not like we get to drive it every day. It's more of a weekender or after work type vehicle.
Yeah, and we do plan on getting to just go to Bridgeport one weekend and just try to do a shakedown run to, you know, test, tighten and tune everything that needs to be checked up and just make sure everything rides good, because most of the places that we travel to go off-road are several hours away. So the last thing that we want to do is have an issue, say when we're, I don't know, 14 hours from home. So we like to check everything ahead of time, test it, tune it, and then when we get ready for our big trips, we feel 100% confident. We're not worried about, you know, if we did this or if we did that, or if we, you know, checked this or checked that. It's all been checked probably 4 to 5 times by the time we get ready to go anywhere big like that.
Absolutely. And I'm the kind of guy that before a trip, the big trip, I put it on the lift and check everything. And when we get home, same thing. I put it on the lift and check everything. I want to see if I'm knocking anything loose or if I got any new leaks. All those little
white marks that he puts on there, he normally uses a yellow one, so the white ones are kind of throwing me off a little bit, but he goes through and puts little white marks on everything so that way if it moves so much as the slightest, littlest bit, he knows it and he can move, get it tightened back up so that we're 100% ready to roll at all times. So
absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna go out there. I've got some trimming to do. I need to do some trimming to the rear, especially. I've got 1 more inch of bump stop I want to add to the front. A few other things I want to modify before we actually do a full flex test. I mean, we flexed it and it was rubbing in the rear and in the front at full stuff. So it's gonna definitely rub when it's at full stuff and I'm turning. So it's stuff like that we've gotta figure out before we rip a fender off or something, which is really not a big deal either. I carry a whole bag of fender clips, and that's why I've stuck with these plastic fenders. Which is
lucky for us. He has a forklift at his shop at work, so he can run up there and go and kind of do just a quick lift without us having to actually go to Bridgeport and be off-road for the whole day. We can just check something, go home, check it, cut it, you know, that kind of stuff. So
I've got it marked last time we did a flex test, so I'm pretty confident when I do get everything cut, it's going to be okay. And I'm cutting off more than need be, so it'll even be that much more better. But
so I think that we're going to end the video here as far as the install. So be sure to like, subscribe, stay tuned, because you're not going to want to miss what we have coming up next, right?
Yeah.
We'll catch you guys later. Bye.